Hello, my diamonds, my TikTokers, and my Teletubbies. Sheila True Love here. It's Sunday. Yes, and I'm enjoying my Sunday, waiting for my meeting so I could get my spiritual food. You know, they have this new movie. It's on Netflix. It's called The Worst Ex Ever. And you have a lady here who saw the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I think there's 4 episodes to it. And I'm going to check it out later on. So that's going to be like my watch movie for tomorrow, because on Sundays I just watch my Christian movies, black Christian movies on YouTube. Highway to Heaven, Touched by an Angel. I like Little House on the Prairie too. And on Sundays I just do Christian movies on Sunday. So I'm going to definitely look at it on Monday. I have it off, and I'm looking forward to that. But from what I hear, this woman was trying to get away from this man after numerous times he abused her. Like I said, you should always be a one and I'm done type of girl. The first time domestic violence happens, it should be the last time. You should not be going to the extremes of staying with these men, having their babies. I was also looking at Karamo, where these 2 women, one was Caucasian and one was a black woman. And they was with these guys for 20 years. 20 years. One of them had 8 kids. Another one had 6 kids. And they said their husbands, well, one of them wasn't even married. The Caucasian woman, the black man, she was with a black man, and he didn't even bother marrying her. He stayed with her for 20 years. Because when he was 15 and she was 20 or 25, she was that thirsty and desperate for a man. So she went with this 15-year-old, had 8 of his kids. He treats her like garbage, cheats on her every chance he gets. And he's just really checked out. And Karamo made it clear, it's apparent, man, that you already checked out a long time ago. He cheats on her every chance he gets. She stays there talking about, I don't know anything else. I don't know anybody else. Well, are you capable? Do you have a brain that works where you can get to know other people? What's the problem? You're sitting here with 8 kids. You've been with this man for 20 years. He never even decided to marry you. He was abusive, let's say, the first year. And instead of you getting away from this character, you go around having 8 of his kids. Now, with it, and then there's the black woman. I said, hey, a black woman, she has 6 kids. But she said she's leaving. She was done. She was done. You mean 6 kids later, and now you finally woke up to say that you're done? Whatever, honey. It is what it is. These bangs are acting crazy today. Yeah, but, I don't understand how women could put up with that kind of abuse for so long. Or you have a lot of women who say how we've been together for 20 years, and they think that it's something to brag about, that it took you that long to wake up. 20 years, sweetheart, or longer? This man, and they said, both of these women said that these men were serial cheaters. So for 20 years, you'll sit here and jeopardize your life and your health just to hang on to some dude. And then the Caucasian woman started crying, but I don't know nobody else. All I have is my kids. What is the problem? What? These kind of things just freak me out. It just does. And I don't mean to get upset about it, but I notice how the judges in the court system, they don't care about what's going on with these women. The police officers, they just give these abusive men a little slap on the hand. Don't be a bad boy. Don't do it again. Don't do it no more. And walk him around the block, and he let him go. You have the pedestrians and people on the street see a woman getting beat down, or, abuse all in the street. People are just looking the other way. They don't care. Because people have come to the realization that all women have to do is leave these men alone. They have access to social media. They know what comes along with these men of today. And yet you see them on dating apps. I see several support groups. And I have several clients who contact me because they're in an abusive relationship or they're trying to get out of one. And then they're out here looking for another one. All men are not the same. People change, sweetheart. What guarantee do you have that he's not going to change into another monster? When you can simply just leave them alone. Help out your own gender. Like I said, you have women who are buying houses together. Women are just teaming up together, man, opening up businesses together. They say, you know what, we're done with this nonsense. And at the same time, they want someone to share their life with. So now they, you know how you look for a mate? They're looking for a roommate. You have someone to share your life with. You have someone to help with the bills. But the beauty of a roommate is they clean up behind themselves. They do their own laundry. They clean up behind themselves. Hopefully you get a responsible one. The same way you interview for a mate to marry, that's the same way you should do when it comes to interviewing and hanging out and finding a roommate. It's that simple. You look at their background, do a reference check and everything. You start off as friends, and you got to check out how they live. If they live like a cluttered, like the what is that show? Those people's houses just crazy. No, I'm a very organized person, and that's the kind of roommate that I want. I want someone who pays their rent on time, someone who cleans up behind themselves, someone who cooks for themselves. You don't have to do that either. And the beauty is you still have your freedom. You don't have to answer to anyone. You tell your roomie, yo, I won't be home tonight, or I'll see you next week, whenever. And it's good. You got freedom. No ball and chain. No having to submit to everything he wants, and he don't give a damn about what you want. He says that he wants you to be his peace. You know what his peace consists of? Everything has got to go his way. Don't you dare speak up for yourself or stand up for yourself, because you're taking away his peace. But anyway, this is what the woman is saying about this movie.
Y'all, this is a really, really, really sad situation, okay? So let's get into it. Imagine if you met a man, you thought he was the perfect match for you. Your family loves him. He's doing all the right things. Y'all have a short engagement and y'all go ahead and get married. Right into the marriage, y'all have 3 beautiful kids back to back to back. But of course, y'all start having some ups and downs. The person you once thought was the man of your dreams turns out to be emotionally abusive. So you decide to let him know you want to get a divorce, and he's not having it. He has threatened you with taking custody of the kids, child support, and putting you on alimony. But you stand on business and you still...
Now you see, none of that would have happened if she wouldn't have signed up for it in the first place. You don't have to kick somebody out if you don't move them in. Especially this day and age, when we live in an age that is nothing but information, nothing but for my man, twisted crimes, viral crimes, Dr. Phil, divorce court. That's just to mention a few. I have a whole list of them. Hold on a moment. I'll get back to whatever this is, child. Let me see. Yeah, I found it. They have viral crimes, twisted crimes, why women kill, The Fall from Grace. I know you guys must have seen that movie. That's on Netflix. Fall from Grace is a real eye-opener. You know, women need to stop it with all of these fairy tale movies, all of these lovey-dovey movies, and all of this black love and all of this stuff. No, sweetheart. We're not living in back in the whatever those days, and those women were abused like hell too, but they had to shut up about it because they had to depend on that man for their survival. Yeah, you have to look at things that are reality, and that's not being negative, that's being a realist, so you don't get yourself caught up with these type of movies. They got Wives with Knives, that's on Pluto TV and Prime. You have to check these out. Till Death Do Us Part, that's on Prime. Love and Deceit, The Affair, My Sordid Affair, that's on Hulu. This is another good one. Behind Closed Doors. For all these people that you see all hugged up in love, well, we see what happened with the judge, him and his wife. He says he's going to fight to get her back because he admits that he neglected the hell out of her. But when they ask him, uh, was there infidelity involved? He tries to get past that real quick. So obviously, if you're spending that much time away from your home and away from your wife, then we pretty much got an idea of what was going on with that. Judge Mathis. Okay. And then we have Shameful Secrets, A Love Triangle, Breaking Point, Behind Closed Doors, A Murderous Affair, The Carolyn Womass Story, Deadly Attraction, Evil Lies Here, Snapped. I mean, who in the hell wants to be bothered with all of these? I mean, I got a whole list of more. Till Death Do Us Part. There ain't nowhere in the Bible people say, well, we said to death do us part. The Bible don't encourage you to let someone destroy you, though. I think we all know what stress does. Stress will kill you. Strokes, heart attacks. So you're supposed to stay inside of a marriage and let something destroy you? Come on. No, we have to use a sound mind. The Bible says to do that too. The Bible says to be wise, my child, and make my heart rejoice. Why are they overlooking that part of the Bible?
Believe. So he decides to take it upon himself to start threatening you and your livelihood. He even took it as far as sneaking up on you one day and beating the crap out of you. So you move on with your life, and now it takes a village for you to help raise your kids. One of the people in the village happens to be your sister, who didn't even like him for real in the first place. She was on.
So people was warning her about how no good the dude is, but you know how women are. They kick their mothers to the curb talking about she's toxic, she's no good. But when people are trying to tell you about this no good man, they want to fight for their dear life. Just look at divorce court, how they're fighting for these toxic, no good men. But they take their flesh and blood and throw them to the wayside. You know how they treat their friends the moment they get a man.
Only one that felt like it was something a little off about him. Meanwhile, your ex-husband, being the hater that he is mad because you ended up leaving him. So what does he decide to do? He takes you to court to try to get alimony from you. $8,000 a month to be exact. Of course, he didn't end up getting anything. And actually, the judge ended up putting him on child support. And you know that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He was livid. He literally is so mad that he tells you verbatim that he is going to kill you. So mind you, he had already put his hands on you before. So this doesn't really surprise you, but life has to go on. So you end up going out of town on a work trip, and you leave your kids at your house with your sister and your nanny. It's late at night one night, and your sister ends up falling asleep on the downstairs couch. In the middle of the night, her sleep was soon interrupted by a knock on the door. Your sister goes to answer the door, and she's unalive, down, point blank, period. Unfortunately, your sister did end up passing away, and we all know who is responsible, right? You and your family are just trying to make sense of all of it because your husband clearly knows the difference between you and your sister, and everybody knows that your husband wanted you dead. So how did your sister end up being the one getting unalive? The police are not able to pinpoint your ex-husband to the crime, so he's still a free man, but you and your family want justice and end up getting him arrested on the assault charges from when he beat you up really bad when y'all first got divorced. Meanwhile, a new revelation in the case has came about. A young lady was in the club one night running her mouth talking about how her and her boyfriend had just unalived somebody. Somehow, some way, this got back to the police, so the police decided to do some investigating. They end up finding this young man's Snapchat, who so happens to be your ex-husband's cousin. Turns out your ex-husband paid his cousin to unalive for a measly $2,400. The young man was
$2,400. You could have got a crackhead to do it cheaper. Are you kidding?
Posting all over his Snapchat talking about some y'all would never guess what I did for this check. Just snitching on himself. And now it all makes sense because if your husband hired somebody else to come unalive, of course he wouldn't know the difference between you and your sister. So the young man ended up getting 32 years in prison. The girl ended up getting 15 years in prison, and the ex-husband ended up getting life in prison. So if you have not seen this show on Netflix, I highly recommend that you go.
Worst ex ever. Maybe that'll snap some sense into women, but I'm telling you, you have to look at that one that I was telling you about. Oh my God, the love bombing, unbelievable. That one that's freaked me out. Fall from grace. What? And even when they start off all nice, we all know about love bombing. And what guarantee, like I said, do you have that they're going to stay that way? You don't. And since men are physically stronger than women, and I look at Kendra G, and these women, they want a man who's 6 feet and up. They want these big old bulky men. Why? Who's going to protect you from him when the domestic violence starts? Are women thinking about that part? When you can just make your life so simple and just get yourself a roommate, someone your own gender, because we understand about menstrual cycles and cramps and endometriosis and women problems. You understand each other better than these men will ever. They don't get it. Let them live with their own gender so they can beat each other's brains out. I just wanted to share that with you. Be careful. Stay single. Get a roommate. Since you want a mate, get a roommate. And if you want to end this on a positive note, check out Having Our Say. The Delaney sisters is right there on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, and the movie is entitled Having Our Say, The Delaney Sisters. They lived to be 104 and 109. 2 sisters that didn't live with no man, didn't deal with men except for on a friendly basis because they didn't hate men. So end your night or your day. Hopefully Sunday you'll look at something to keep your spirits lifted up so you don't become a bitter, hateful person, and keep yourself built up for the week. You know, do some Black Christian movies or just Christian movies, period. You know, I love Highway to Heaven because it helps you to keep your love for humanity. So Sundays, I'm hoping that you build yourself up spiritually and keep a beautiful mind. I have a beautiful mind. At the same time, I don't want to be in the dark when it comes to reality. I don't want to look at no love movies and no love shows because that's the women's problem now. Too many fairy tales. Not enough reality. Don't forget the Delaney sisters, Having Our Say. Twinkle, 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 and remember how much I truly, truly love you. And I do.